Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning dear judges and good morning everyone. My name is Violney Naifah, shortly Lucre, and today I'd like to debate, and the motion is, this House regrets OpenAI's transition towards a for-profit structure. So let's do a quick rebuttal. First, financial naivety versus hyperscale reality. A 100 times profit cap might sound massive on a paper, but it becomes an arbitrary hurdle when the cost of training frontier AGI models scales into tens of billions of dollars. Large-scale institutional investors and infrastructure partners like Microsoft or Oracle Clouds require a standard, legally clear corporate structure with fiduciary duties, not an experimental hybrid model that creates a gray areas. The November 2023 coup, where the non-profit board abruptly fired Sam Altman, proved that the old governance model was inherently unstable. When the board attempted to help operations in the name of pure idealism, the market revolted. 95% plus of employees threatened to be resigned, and investors threatened to do legal action. A non-profit board controlling a massive commercial entity is a structural ticking time bomb. The transition to a for-profit structure brings legal clarity, corporate stability, and predictable governance. The second rebuttal, dismantling the loss of employees' loyalty and culture. Affirmative said shifting to a pure commercial structure causes employees to lose their ideological loyalty, suffer from venture capital stress, and adopt a transactional clock out at 5 p.m. mentality. The AI industry is in an unprecedented war for talent. Competitors like Google, Meta, and well-funded startups routinely offer top-tier researchers millions of dollars in equity-based compensation. If OpenAI remains shackled to a non-profit structure that restricts financial upside, it would face a massive brain drain. Top researchers cannot sustain a multi-decade mission on ideological promises alone when their market value is vastly higher elsewhere. In a standard for-profit structure, employees receive stock options. This does not make them mercenary. It allies their personal financial success of the company. It fosters a deep sense of ownership and accountability, driving higher stakes models they build rather than a disengaged clock out mentality. And the last rebuttal. The affirmative side said Sam Altman rushing the release of ChatGPT in late 2022, allegedly against the wishes of some board members, proves that commercial interests push unsafe products into the market just to capture market shares. And then, the affirmative side mistakenly assumes that keeping AI locked in laboratory is the only way to ensure safety. In reality, frontier AI safety cannot be solved in a vacuum. The only way to stress test AI alignment and discover critical vulnerabilities is at scales through controlled, iterative public deployment. If OpenAI hadn't released ChatGPT in late 2022, other unconstrained entities or state actors would have developed similar models in secret. OpenAI's public release forced a global awakening. It catalyzed international regulators like the EU and the US to immediately draft AI governance frameworks. This commercial step actually accelerated global public oversight rather than bypassing it. Now we move into my argument. Capital sufficiency and the war for talent. The transition to a for-profit structure is structurally necessary for OpenAI to survive the hyper-competitive global war for capital and talent. Frontier AI development is not just about coding. It requires billions of dollars annually for supercomputing power and infrastructure. Philanthropic grants or non-profit donations simply cannot scale to this magnitude. Furthermore, the AI industry is facing an unprecedented brain drain. Look at the reality of the market. OpenAI's training costs for frontier models are estimated in the billions. By shifting structures, OpenAI successfully secured massive multi-billion-dollar investments from institutional partners like Microsoft and Oracle. This capital allows them to match the exact compensation packages of Silicon Valley giants, successfully retaining the world's top AI safety minds. Therefore, this transition is not a surrender to greed, but a necessary mechanism to secure the financial and human resources needed to keep OpenAI at the forefront of safe AI development. My second argument, market-driven safety and legal accountability. For-profit structure enforces stricter legal compliance, ethical data resourcing, and product safety than a non-profit model ever could. The government fears that a profit motive will lead to a race to the bottom, where OpenAI rushes dangerous products or steals data. This is economically counterintuitive. Non-profit often operate under a legal shield, scraping data under the guise of academic research and escaping heavy scrutiny. However, a for-profit entity is a massive commercial target. In a B2B market, corporate clients will never adopt an AI that leaks data or violates copyright. Furthermore, for-profit entities face immense risk from class action lawsuits and regulatory fines. Therefore, the market actually penalizes reckless behavior and rewards the high engineering as the premium features. Thus, the commercial transition does not ruin safety. It introduces institutional checks and balances, legal liabilities, and the financial power required to build ethical AI at scale. So, if this house regrets OpenAI's transition, it is wishing for a cash-strapped, brain-drained entity that would eventually collapse or lose the AI race to completely unconstrained tech monopolies. For this reason, I am proud to not stand on this motion. Thank you.